live from the House of LeMay Makeup and Dressing Room.
Here comes Amber. Stop what you're doing. Here comes Amber. She's just doing what she can. Here comes Amber. Cue the spotlight. Here comes Amber with 2 drinks in her hand. The matriarch of fashion, secrets to her glasses. You can't look away. Ask her, does she do it? There's really nothing to it. She's got that feminine game. If you have a party, or if you're feeling naughty, call up the House of LeMay. Here comes your favorite gal. Here comes your queen. Here comes your talk of the town. And we're live tonight. The music starts playing. It's time for cabaret. And we're live tonight.
Ladies and gentlemen, please turn off all cell phones and get ready for your host, Amber LeMay.
Which is nothing but vodka and club soda and a little bit of blood, which is cranberry juice.
Fox News is as confused as Kanye West. After West's infamous rambling interview with Tucker Carlson, Fox and Friends' Ashley Earhart said,
You just watch it and you listen to what he's saying. The message is beautiful.
yeah, so beautiful that Kanye had to be banned from Twitter hours later for highly anti-Semitic tweets. Fox News is as fair and unbalanced as Kanye. Is Trump a thief/traitor? At a recent Arizona rally, Trump claimed that George H.W. Bush stored millions and millions of documents in an old Chinese restaurant/bowling alley. He complained that there was no security. Now, why don't we set Trump up with his own documents in McDonald's/Guantanamo Bay and give it extra security? Hey, why don't we? That's what I'm saying. Hello and welcome to our 125th episode of Amber Live. Yes, so I want you to like, share, and subscribe. Please, we're almost up to 1,000 subscribers on YouTube, and you can put us over. So please do that. Welcome, welcome, welcome. But I want to ask you a question. What do sex tapes, fake badges, and turmoil in Beaver Pond, Vermont have in common? They're all a part of this week's news briefs. Being election season, we see and hear politicians straddle a lot of issues, either not committing to a substantial issue or declaring devout support to an issue their history indicates otherwise. In this day and age, it's nice when a politician commits to a cause so hard they make a sex tape about it. Or is it? Mike Itkes is running for New York's 12th congressional district, and he's running on his stance that sexual rights need to be explicitly defined and protected. To demonstrate his commitment to the issue, he released a sex tape titled Bucket List Bonanza. No, not that bucket list, Russell. Whew. He calls his 13-minute tape a conversation piece. Part of Itkes' campaign is based on sex-positive approach in support of abortion rights, decriminalization of sex work, ending government involvement in marriage, and ending adultery laws. He says that if I would just talk about it, it wouldn't demonstrate my commitment to the issue. And the fact I actually did it was a huge learning experience. Unfortunately, his learning experience is the only thing that one could consider huge about Bucket List Bonanza. Well, at least that's what Rocco told me. Now, former football giant and currently midgetly mental Herschel Walker did not disappoint in the Friday night debate for the Georgia Senate seat. Expectations were low to begin with. After all, Walker himself has said, "I'm not that smart." So just showing up was probably enough for his supporters. But the highlight or the low light if you're Walker, was when the questioning turned to supporting law enforcement. During the discussion, his opponent, current Senator and Reverend Raphael Warnock, and Walker had this exchange. Warnock said, "One thing I have not done, I have never pretended to be a police officer, and I've never threatened a shootout with the police." Well, Herschel Walker then pulled out a badge and said, and I quote, "I am work with many police officers." That's a quote. The moderator quickly reminded Walker that no props were allowed during the debate, and he quickly put it back in his pocket. Now, Walker's spokesperson pointed out that Walker is an honorary deputy in Cobb County and 3 other unspecified Georgia counties, but the Cobb County Police Department has said it has no records backing up Walker's claim. Oh, please, let's hope one of these candidates, preferably Warnock, receives more than 50% of the vote on November 8th and avoids a runoff. Oh, please. Now, in political news, last night at the Leaf Peepin' Cider Sippin' Review, the mayor of Beaver Pond, Vermont Mayor Bibbs Fisk, was called to task for her draconian measures taken during the COVID shutdown. Crystal LeMay expressed extreme disagreement with Fisk's banning of outdoor singing from 11 a.m. to 11 a.m. Could this be the beginning of a challenge to Fisk's 20-year reign as mayor of Beaver Pond? We'll be keeping an eye out for more signs that Crystal LeMay may make a run for the office come town meeting day in March. And that's this week's news briefs. Yes, that's the news briefs. And there's a slight political tinge to tonight's show, if you hadn't noticed. So, Russell, come on in.
Hey, Amber, how you doing?
Oh, I'm doing fine, Russell, but I know that we have a lot of new visitors this week watching. So tell them what's the best way to watch the show.
Well, the best way to watch Amber live is always to watch it on YouTube if you can, youtube.com/Amber Live. And there are 2 reasons for that. One is because Amber is in full HD there. And the other is that your friends are probably on YouTube and you can join them in the chat room. I mean, you can make comments to us, to them, and have a lot more fun by creating a great community over there on youtube.com/Amber Live. And I do want to remind you, as you saw at the beginning of the show, we've got a great TikTok and Instagram account going. So you can go watch our daily shorts there, catch up on what Amber's been doing and have a lot of fun. Amber also has a Facebook page. And there's even our website, amberlive.tv. Now, if you can't watch Amber, you can always listen to the interviews because I cut them out during the week. And on Tuesdays, the latest interviews go live as podcasts, and you can find those anywhere that great podcasts are played. There's a list right there. So there's a lot of different Amber to take in these days.
Oh, my goodness. And if you're over in the chat right now, you can see Bridget from Illinois. We saw Josh Pittman from Newfoundland. We've got, Big J from Vermont. I saw Gary Buck from Elyria, Ohio. Don Rotten from Montana. Is Don Rotten from Montana? Ooh, I forget, but no, and Amy's there, and Shar from Sacramento, California. Thank you so much for watching tonight. We really appreciate that. You know, Russell, I'm kind of tired tonight. I've had a very, very busy week.
Wow, what did you do?
Well, we did the show last Sunday, and then Wednesday night, we had our Amber chat that we like to do on Wednesday night. We meet a lot of good people from 8:15 to 9:15, where we just talk about stuff. And then Thursday night, I was a volunteer at the Empty Bowl dinner. That was a fundraiser for the Spectrum Youth Services. It was a great event. And there was a picture there I got taken there. That's with our good friend David Zuckerman, former lieutenant governor of Vermont. And he's currently running again for lieutenant governor. It was great to see David. And if you know David, you notice he doesn't have his ponytail anymore. No, he cut it off and gave it to charity. So it was great seeing David. And it was a great event. They raised like $120,000 that night for Spectrum Youth Services, which does a wonderful job in the community. And then on Saturday night, last night, we had our Leaf Peepin' Cider Sippin' Review. We did 2 shows. We had a great audience, a lot of Amber Live regular viewers, our faithful fans like Mark LeBlanc was there, and Big J was there as well. A lot of people came and saw the show, and we had a heck of a lot of fun. So that was good. That was good. All right, Russell. So tell us about what you want to talk about.
Well, I always like to thank our bustiers. They are the people that help keep us going. And we want to say thank you to all of you. This is our current list of bustiers for the year. You can see we've got super bustiers who have really helped us out. We've got our regular bustiers, and you can become a bustier and help keep us going and help us pay all the bills that revolve around the Amber Live by using that Venmo at RJD Pro, or you can go to the amberlive.tv website and look for the support Amber Live button. And any amount is welcome, but if you give $25 or more, I will send you an Amber Live sticker. For $100 or more, you get a great sticker and a magnet of our beautiful logo. And for $200 or more, you get a sticker, a magnet, and one of our amazing Amber Live mugs. So again, oops, wrong picture there. Again, please use Venmo at RJD Pro, or go to amberlive.tv and look for the support Amber Live button if you'd like to use a credit card. And that really is helpful because there are expenses involved in doing all of this and bringing you such amazing guests as we're getting these days.
Yes, so good. Thank you for that audience participation, you donors. But we also have another audience participation part of the show. Russell, tell us about the caption.
Yes, every week we try to do a fun caption this, and our audience, we want you to send in captions. Tonight, Cousin Craig will be collecting them in the comments, so please label them as a caption so he knows what they are for this picture. So there's the picture. If you've got a funny comment about that, please send it in to Cousin Craig so we can talk about it at the end of the show and get some great laughs. And I believe this picture was taken by Jack, who's not here tonight because he's working.
Oh, working. This is work.
This is work. But
yes, it is. All right. So, yes, send those captions in. We love to see them. And Russell, tell us about our guests tonight.
Oh, my goodness. We have 3 returning guests. We have a trio of returning guests. I don't know if we've ever had that before. And they are amazing because they are all politicians. And the first one is John Killacky, who has been here several times now and has done it all, traveled the world, seen everything, been involved in the arts, and has been a state rep for Vermont. And after him, we have the incredible Taylor Small coming on, who really has some tales from her recent adventures around the world. So that'll be interesting. And then we have the man who makes Amber's heart patter, and an amazing politician himself. Brian Sims will be back to talk with us. So we're going to hear all about what's going on in the world of politics these days, what they've been up to, and what they think we can all do to help out to make things better.
All right. Well, thank you very much, Russell. We'll talk to you shortly.
All right. Have a great.
All right. It is. Yeah. Like Russell said, we've got 3 repeating guests tonight because they are so cool, nice, fun, interesting people. And the first one tonight is my good buddy, John Killacky. John, come on in. John. Hello.
Listen, Russell is serious about support because I tried to get a free t-shirt out of him before we went live. And he said, I send money and I get a t-shirt. So he is very clear about support. So God love him for that.
You know, we're artists. You know how we artists are.
And you tell your cousin, Crystal LeMay, that I'm not going to be running again, so I won't be in the Verona House, but I will be her campaign manager to run for mayor.
Oh, that will be fascinating. So, John, tell our viewers, give me the elevator speech from floor 1 to floor 2 of your past work experience and where you are now.
Well, I moved to Vermont in 2010 to run the Flynn Center. Did that for 8 years, and I had you jump off a building with logos on all over and raised money, $150,000. Not just you, but which was great fun. You've always been such a supporter of the arts and everything in Burlington. You're amazing, Amber. And then in 2018, I stepped down from the Flynn. I retired, and I thought, what's the next part of my service? And so I've spent the last 4 years in the Vermont House of Representatives, representing South Burlington, where I live, and it's been an incredible honor.
What would you say was your major accomplishment when looking back on those 4 years? Would you say that's what I'm most proud of?
Well, first, I'm grateful. I've learned so much. The committee I sit on is the General Housing and Military Affairs. So we did a lot about investigating sexual harassment and assault in the Guard. We also did a lot with housing. And so I think the thing that I did my most work on is during the pandemic, making sure those without homes were safe, because we had to close the shelters. So making sure motels were provided and services were provided. And that has been an extraordinary learning process for me to be deeply involved in that community. I also worked on recovery issues and recovery homes across the state because, the opiate issues in our state are just so complicated. And so I was grateful to work there too.
What was your biggest challenge?
I had been used to being a CEO, head of the Flynn, and the legislature is a very hierarchical organization with committee chairs and then tenured people. And I've come away really believing that there should be term limits in the Vermont House, that people, it's a part-time citizen legislature, and which is really fantastic. But I think people should not necessarily spend decades of their lives in these part-time positions.
That's an interesting conversation and a debate to have, because I'm not in favor of term limits. I think the term limits happen at the ballot box. That's where I think, but I also know where you're coming from as well. So,
but, Amber, as you started with your wonderful parodies, I was thinking about you're so great taking on Trump, and I thank you for that. But look at some of the people running on the Republican ticket in Vermont. Okay, I'm not running anymore, so I can be a little more honest here. But we got someone in Essex saying that the ballots can be hacked, and we got a person in Brattleboro and one in Bennington who were in January 6th. We have another person. These are all people running the House, Republicans. Another Republican woman in Essex has pictures of Donald Trump being surrounded by God signing forms. These are the Republicans who are running in our state. And, the Republican Party is a joke at this
So
point.
what do you think the chances are of those people getting elected?
Well, I think next to zero. Some of them aren't even showing up for debates. But this is what's being put forward. And with our media trying to be fair to people, trying to even give them credibility, is like, oh my God, this is, even the man running against Peter Wells for Senate, he's only lived in the state for 2 years.
Yeah,
he has another home out of state, and he has a business out of state. And it's like, really? Okay. So you can just move here and decide you're going to run for Senate, deploy Malloy. I mean, it's frightening, but
however, don't you think that, aren't you relieved that we do live here in Vermont and we don't have the close races that are happening elsewhere that could go either way?
Well, yes. And what I see, though, is that the wars happen in our school boards across the state. And also, there are a number of town clerks all across the state have gotten these requests for information around the ballots of 2020. And it's almost literally the same. It's like a pro forma thing just to try to screw everything up. So I think we have a real issue about credibility and what is truth, and how anyone can be an election denier, So they are fringe candidates, but we also have to remember that a third of Vermont voted for Donald Trump.
Yeah,
in the last election.
All right, John. So you're finished with your term, your 2 terms as state representative. So you're just going to sit at home and have Lawrence feed you bonbons on the couch. Is that it?
Well, I would hope he will. And my husband, Larry, I hope he will give me some bonbons. That would be lovely. I've been busy. I've been writing some pieces. I have a piece about a UVM trans filmmaker named Angelo Madsen Minix, who's going to be shown this Friday at the Vermont International Film Festival. And he's just won a Guggenheim, and he's an amazing artist. And I have a piece in Digger about him. And then I wrote a piece about Julius Eastman, who was a Black gay composer I knew in the 70s. There he is, God love him. And he had a lot of issues. He was a minimalist, but he had a lot of substance issues. In the mid 80s, he was evicted from his apartment for non-payment of rent, and he was homeless. He was living in Thompson Square Park, and I would see him there, and some days he'd be coherent, some days he wouldn't. But what happened is when he was evicted, all of his scores were thrown out. And Julie said, I don't need them anymore. But what's happened is there's been this resurgence of interest in his work, and there had been some tapes and things. So I wrote a piece in Art Fuse, an online piece, and Vermont Public Radio picked it up, and now there's a whole timeline series about Julius. James Stewart is running on Vermont Public Radio. So it's just been thrilling to me to be able now to advocate for some queer artists who are in the margins, like the filmmaker and the composer. So I'm having a great time. And then next week, I make my 17th film. I've been working on this film about the Fluxus movement of the 60s, like Yoko Ono before John Lennon. She was a Fluxus artist. And
describe that term. Or
sure, it was a group of artists who decided that the object wasn't as important as the idea. So like Lamont Young would say, his score would be draw a line and follow it. And then anybody could do whatever they wanted with it. The idea was his, but so like a Namjoon Pike stuck his head in ink and rolled on the floor and made a painting following Lamont's score. So and Yoko did some about lighting a match, and that was her gesture, and people could do it how they wanted. Hey, I'm 70 now. I can do what I want. And so I'm making a piece using about 15 of these performance scores that I'll be seated at a desk doing.
So what do you hope to do with that film?
Well, I've been blessed. My films have been shown around the world. They're in museums. 4 of them have been on Vermont PBS. So depending on what happens, I think it'll be more of a gallery piece because I'm making a sculpture at the same time. So, we'll see.
Good for you, John.
Why not, Amber? Why not?
Why not? If not now, when?
Exactly.
That's what I'm saying. All right, John. Well, stick around. I want to have you back later because I want to hear you talk to Taylor and Brian because I
not those conservative scores. I'm staying them around. Okay?
Oh yeah. We're going to get on Brian about that. Thank you, John. We'll be back with you. Oh my gosh, what a great guy! And now we've got a special edition of Bitchin' in the Kitchen. I don't know.
Bitchin' in the kitchen with
Lucy Bell. Lucy Bell. Oh, sweet, dude. Lucy Bell got a shitload of Fireball. Oh. What's up, bud? This here is Rusty Bean from the Beaver Pond Guns and Tackle Society, where our mission is to arm more drag queens, because a loaded drag queen is a safe drag queen. Dude, I just broke into Lucy Bell's trailer to steal some Fireball, but dude, let's do a bitchin' in the kitchen, bud. Okay, dude. We gotta scrounge around Lucy Bell's kitchen, see what shit she's got lying around the trailer and what we can come up with, yeah? Okay, bud. So, dude, after looking around Lucy Bella's trailer, we got some oatmeal, and we're gonna make some oatmeal today, bud, yeah? Okay. Dude, the history of oatmeal can be traced back 7,000 years to the ancient Chinese people, and it made its way west to Europe by way of the Greeks and their trade routes. And eventually, that's how Europeans got all sorts of different ways of making oatmeal, kind of like the Germans and Swedish people, and they use it kind of like a cold cereal bud. Okay, to make a bowl of oatmeal, get your pan, get your saucepan right here. Season it with salt for taste, bud. Get yourself 1 2/3 cup water, bud. Pour that shit right in. Start a fire. Dude, we're gonna scoop out a whole cup of oats and just throw this shit right in the pan. Just throw it the fuck in there, bud. Stir that shit around, bud. Dude, so while we're watching the pot for it to fucking boil, let's make a drink, bud. Dude, Lucy Bell knows how to fucking live. She's got this two-sided shot glass right here, so let's not spoil a good opportunity, bud. Dude, we're gonna make a drink with Fireball and orange juice. Put orange juice on a one-sided shot glass. Sweet, dude. Take the Fireball. Making science right here, bud. Do it. And now you got yourself a firecracker, bud. Sweet. Dude, the water's just about done boiling. So let's put in some fucking butter. Dude, I always use Cabot butter because it's made here in Vermont and it's been a proud tradition in the state for 100 years or some shit, bud. Dude, now is a good time to mention that Cabot is in no way a sponsor of Bitchin in the Kitchen. But if you're listening, Cabot, we'd love to have you sponsor the show to talk more about what fine dairy products you made right here in the great state of Vermont. So give us a call, Cabot, and we can talk more about all your cheeses and your butters and all sorts of your fine dairy products. You know? And dude, that brings us to today's bitch for Bitchin in the Kitchen. Oatmeal tastes like shit. Dude, you gotta put shit in if you want it to taste good, bud. But dude, today we got something special for you, bud. We're gonna throw in some Fireball in our oatmeal, dude. Dude, it's sweet, because you can eat breakfast and get shit-faced at the same time, bud. You know? Okay, take your bottle of Fireball. Dude, make sure that you stir the shit up from time to time, bud. Pour it in the bowl. It's great. It's great. And dude, got a sweet breakfast right there, bud. That'll get your kids to leave you alone. You could yell at your peen pods all day after a breakfast of champions such as this, bud. Good hot. Good fucking hot. Dude, that's some sweet cinnamon whiskey oatmeal right there, bud. I'm Rusty Peen. This has been Bitchin in the Kitchen, and I'll see you next time I break into your trailer. Yo!
I'm not sure about that firecracker, the Fireball and orange juice. I'm just trying to. Do you use pulp? Did you get pulpless orange juice on that, Rusty? We'll have to ask him that. Well, back to our political discussion. I'd like to bring in our good friend Taylor Small. Taylor, come on in.
Hello, Amber.
Taylor, you're running for re-election. You've served one term in the state representative. You were the first transgendered representative elected to the Vermont House. And what has your life been like the past 2 years?
It's been a roller coaster because I started campaigning through a global pandemic. Did the first full year online, which everyone just kept telling me in the Zoom chat that it wasn't the same. And I was like, really? It's not the same as being in the building? I'm so shocked to hear that. But then finally got to go into the building the second year and get to meet all of my colleagues in person. And it was amazing. I think hearing that conversation with John earlier, I'm a little, it's bittersweet seeing all this turnover. I hear his piece on term limits and I'm definitely in support. But seeing all of these folks, about a third of our House and a third of our Senate leave in 1 year is pretty sad as a new member because of all of the folks like John Killacky, like Bill Lippert, who have been leaders for our community for so long. I wish I had a little more time with them, but I'm really eager to carry that torch in the next session.
Yes, because if that many people have left, your rank in seniority is pretty good there.
I would say so.
Yes. So what do you hope to do in your second term?
Oh, well, really focusing on more protections, especially as we see what is happening across the nation when it comes
Okay. I'm sorry. Time out. Let's go back to what you accomplished your first term, because that is simply amazing. Tell us about that bill that you were responsible for.
Yeah. So 2 main bills that I was able to pass in my first term. One banned the Lgbtq panic defense here in the state of Vermont. Defense that I cannot even believe that we can call it a defense, where folks say that they had this sense of panic or anxiety, and it meant that they had to attack or murder an LGBTQ person. And so we were actually the 14th state to be able to ban that defense. And we
14th state. We're the 14th state.
That's right. And we were able to get unanimous support through the House and Senate, as well as our Republican governor, which is quite a different story than what we saw from issues such as gender expression protections, as well as marriage equality in Vermont. Those were not unanimous votes, but that was truly amazing.
And what was the other one?
The other one, making it easier for trans people to see their gender reflected on their birth certificates. So that one was a great collaboration with the Department of Health. They saw the inequities there as well. So really swift action taken, and got some very heartwarming letters over the break of young folks and older folks across Vermont just feeling really validated and understood and seen through such a simplified process.
And through your efforts, you've been acknowledged several times by several different organizations. Okay, I know you're a shy person and you don't like to brag, but come on, give it to us.
What do you want? I can bring the queen out for you, Amber.
Oh, please do it.
I think that the biggest one was from One Young World, which is an international organization that brings together young leaders, recognizing the work that they're doing in their home countries, either through panel conversations, speeches, or awards such as Politician of the Year, which I was one of 5 young politicians to receive that award. And
from the world, from the world.
Oh, yes. The entire world. It was, trust me, I checked a couple times to be like, is this a scam? Like, are you going to ask me for my credit card number next? But luckily, no, they offered me a flight out to Manchester, England, to participate in a 4-day conference with 2,000 young folks from 196 countries. It was truly life-changing.
Wow. That is so cool. And you've been acknowledged other places too?
Yes. Well, I as John will bring up later,
we'll talk about that later. We want to bring Brian into that conversation.
But I'm so honored about it. Others being early on, I was recognized as one of 50 badass women to be able to, run and serve. I was one of 3 politicians recognized from Time Out magazine, as well as one of 11 amazing women who changed the world in the last year. So it has been quite the accolade central. So I'm really hoping I can keep this momentum going into the second term.
Now, when I first met you, how many years ago, did you have any idea that this is your life's path?
I had no idea, truly. I remember, back when I had my own public access television show, we had Keisha Ram Hinsdale on before she had run for the Senate. And she made a comment then of, we need a queen. We need a queen to run and serve in the House. And I laughed at that, thinking, well, it's not going to be me, but I'll support someone who goes into that role. But how amazing is it that just 4 years after that, I stepped in and said, actually, I think it is. It is my time.
All right. Now, in your next term, because you will be reelected, are you running unopposed, I believe?
I technically have an opponent, but I'm really not worried. Everything going on.
Will you be up for a chairman or chairperson of a committee, or is that possible?
Possible, but not probable. Haven't been in the House long enough to be able to chair a committee, though I'm really excited to be taking on, as I was saying before, some work in hopefully the Judiciary Committee to push protections for abortion care providers as well as gender affirming care providers. And maybe even go as far as doing a constitutional amendment to make sure that we have our equal rights protected within our Vermont state constitution. Again, because it seems like there is quite the mess going on in DC, and we need to make sure that we have our protections here at home.
Now, who are you talking about equal rights?
Equal rights across identities, of course, a very strong focus on marriage equality. So for same-sex couples, for transgender folks, for people with disabilities, Of course, people of color, which I'm very glad that we have 2 amazing amendments to our Constitution on the ballot this year. One to abolish slavery, finally and officially here in the state of Vermont.
Oh, no.
It feels weird to have to say it, but I'm glad that our Constitution really is about to reflect our values. That, and of course, Article 22, which will enshrine reproductive liberties for all Vermonters.
How much do you deal with people from other states? Do you talk to other representatives from other states and talk about bills to present?
Yes, actually. In this off session, I was able to be part of a panel of tripartisan legislators, some from Connecticut, Texas, California, and Delaware, talking about ways that we can update our criminal legal system, really focusing primarily on youth and human rights for youth within our juvenile system. And so I have a lot of ideas that came out of that. It's really helpful, especially as a part-time legislator, to be able to hear what's going on in other states, get ideas from their bills, and then see what we might be able to do here in Vermont or where that might have some crossover, especially knowing potential barriers or what pitfalls they might have experienced, and having that information exchange.
Now, you said tripartisan. What does that
Oh,
mean?
tripartisan, yes. So Democrat, Republican, and progressive.
Oh, okay. All right. Are there progressives other places than Vermont?
We are the only state that recognizes the Progressive Party on the statewide level, but luckily I get to carry that designation. So I was that tripartisan edition.
Okay. And you'll try anything. That's what I've heard.
Well, you heard it here first.
Oh, my goodness. Well, thank you so much, Taylor. We're going to have you back later on to talk to Brian and John, and we've got some fun conversation with that. Thank you so much.
Oh, thank you for having me, Amber.
Oh, no problem. No problem. All right. Russell, come on in.
Hey, oh my goodness, such a show.
I love those people. They're so good. Living in Vermont is like no place else where you get to meet those type of people and know them. Yeah. All right, Russell, who else, what do we have coming up?
Well, we have so much more coming up. Another member of the Amber Live family, Brian Sims, will be back, the incredible politician, here to explain himself and his numbers, apparently, whether he wants to or not. But, and we've got some Rocco and some Boog and Chug, and but Jack won't be here, but Cousin Craig will be here to talk about the caption.
Yeah, show that picture. Show that picture.
Show that picture again. If you've got a funny caption for this picture, please send it in to Craig. Label it as a caption in the comments and send it on in, and we'll get some good giggles at the end of the show about that one.
Oh, yes, we will.
Captions yourself, Amber.
Oh, yeah, I think I did earlier. Russell, give your bustiers.
Yes, and as John mentioned, I am serious about the bustiers. It really is important to help us keep the show going. You can see all of our super bustiers and regular bustiers there. And if you'd like to become a bustier, use that Venmo at RJD Pro, or go to our website at amberlive.tv and look for the support Amber Live button, and you can use your credit card there. And thank you very much to all the bustiers who have helped us keep this going for 125 episodes.
My first show was March 22nd of 2020. And if you take the number of Sundays between then and now, there aren't a lot more than 125, which means we've been on air a lot of Sundays in that span.
Even Mark LeBlanc can't chase us off.
Oh, no. He's watching. I know he is. He won't watch. All right. Thank you very much, Russell. We'll see you later. All right. Yeah. If you saw on that list of bustiers, there's a secret admirer. Now, in my dreams, the person I hope is the secret admirer is Brian Sims, who I'm going to talk to right now. Brian, come on in.
Well, hello there.
Brian, you look like you're in a between two ferns type of setting.
Right, like I'm in a dentist office or something now. I'm like awkwardly in my room, but before I came on, I realized that I had nothing around me. So the plan was to somehow make this look a little bit more homely.
Okay. All right, Brian, you've been on this show before. You, as a state representative, one of the few gay state representatives in the Pennsylvania House, and then as a candidate for lieutenant governor. And now you didn't make it that. And what do you think? Why weren't you nominated for lieutenant governor?
Amber, you were bad luck. Oh, I didn't want to say anything to John
You
and Taylor.
men, you men.
John seems to know already. I didn't want to tell Taylor yet, but no. You know, I just didn't win. I ran a fantastic race.
Yes, you did.
You know, got support from all 50 states. You know, in the country, and still didn't win. And so, you know, you win some and you lose some. I'm lucky enough that I have won 5, you know, elections to the House of Representatives in Pennsylvania, but I didn't win my statewide race for lieutenant governor, and so it goes.
And but yes, you did. You ran a great campaign, and so you tell us about in Pennsylvania. You could have run for your state rep position and lieutenant governor, but you chose not to.
I chose not to. Yeah, it sounds a little more complicated than it actually is. But Pennsylvania is one of those states that allows elected officials to run for higher office and run for their own office. And so in the House of Representatives, for example, where I'm from, there were a number of my colleagues that ran for higher office, including the guy that actually beat me, who all ran for their own seats in the House, which many of them I'm glad. Malcolm Kenyatta, for example, I'm really, you know, Malcolm's going to be returning to the House of Representatives, which is really important.
Yes, he's been a guest. He's been a guest.
But I knew, you know, I think I probably knew before I ran for lieutenant governor that I wasn't going to seek a 6th term in the House of Representatives for a lot of reasons. One of them just being that 10 years is enough. But I also have a close friend named Deja Lynn Alvarez, who ran for my seat in the House. She didn't win either, but she would have been the first trans Latina ever elected to the House of Representatives anywhere in the United States. And so, you know, it was certainly worth the run. She's the first to ever run in Pennsylvania state for a House seat, but it was definitely time.
So when you were in the state legislature, you were one of the few people of the LGBTQ community, which is amazing for a state that large.
Out ones.
They what? Oh, out.
You know,
action in the cloakroom.
Right. Well, you know, it's a big building. When I was elected 10 years ago, I was the first out person ever elected to our legislature. And I was joined 6 years later by Malcolm Kenyatta. And next cycle, there will be 5 out elected officials in the Pennsylvania General Assembly. I feel pretty happy about that.
Oh, yes. Yeah. How many members in the House?
There are 203 in the House, 50 in the Senate.
Wow. Need some more.
need a lot more, you know. And Bert, it's funny that you say that. The Williams Institute out of UCLA, which tracks a lot of the data surrounding LGBTQ people, says that there should be about 21,000 out elected officials in the country based on our demographic. But as John and Taylor know, there's actually only about 1,000 of us, just over 1,000 of us. And so anybody that's watching your show that's interested in politics, I hope they'll reach out to all 3 of us, because we desperately need more out LGBTQ plus people in politics. We bring a lot to these jobs. And oftentimes we're among the first people, you know, from our communities to serve in these jobs.
What's so cool about Vermont, as you saw with John and Taylor, is our next congressperson from Vermont, our only congressperson, is going to be an out lesbian. Mm-hmm. Our state treasurer is going to be a gay male. You know,
yep. And you're gonna get so much shit done.
And you know, I asked John and Taylor how many members are in the gay caucus, and they'll go, I don't know. We're just there.
I was a caucus.
They don't need to count.
For a long time.
It's amazing. So, what are you doing now? I know you've been traveling because I stalk you on Facebook, so I know you've been traveling.
I've been doing a lot. So, the election was in May, and in June is our budget month, where we spend the entire month of June, even weekends sometimes, really working on our budget. So I did that up until the end of June. I had an opportunity to do a little bit of traveling. My partner lives on the West Coast. And
you have a partner?
I have a boyfriend. Amber, he hates you, I'm sure. So you know, he and I got to spend some time together. You know, as we were talking a little bit beforehand, you know, I'm working out what it is that I'm going to do next. I'm going to stay in equality. I'm going to stay in advocacy. I'm going to try to take some of the lessons that I've learned one of the most gerrymandered legislatures in the country, and I'm going to try to take some of those lessons nationwide, maybe worldwide. But we'll see. I've got 45 more days left in session, and I owe it to my constituents to really focus on that.
You're a lawyer.
I am. I'm a civil rights attorney.
So will you rely on that as income, or?
I hope I don't have to. Yes and no. That's probably a lawyer's answer. The work that I do, I often find very hard to divorce from the fact that I'm an attorney, that I'm a barred attorney, and I won't be taking clients in the way that I think attorneys, that most people think of attorneys as doing. But I will be working with companies and legislators and communities and and hopefully a lot of elected officials to make change and continue to fight for equality at a time, frankly, when we need it more than I think many of us thought that we would. I chair the LGBTQ Equality Caucus of our legislature, and Amber, I track 28 pieces of legislation that we need passed. And, some of it is closer to happening than others, and some of it isn't anywhere near happening. But as I look around the country, I know that this is, legislation that the whole country needs.
It sounds like being a lobbyist. Is that what you'd call yourself?
Nope. I'm going to teach lobbyists how to do a better job. When every one of us has been to a Pride and seen companies' names plastered all over everything at Pride. And those companies, they say they support us publicly. They say they support us at Pride. They say they support us at LGBTQ History Month. But oftentimes when those companies are in capitals and state legislatures advocating for tax breaks and zoning code changes, they oftentimes forget those policies that are supportive of the LGBTQ communities that they say they support. And so I'm gonna maybe hold some feet to the fire, maybe inspire some companies to get more active as they advocate. But I'm going to teach lobbyists, I think, how to do a job that's more inclusive of LGBTQ people.
Oh, that is so cool. Thank you. All right. Now, Pennsylvania, what the heck is going on there?
Yeah, right. All right.
We've had John Fetterman on the show before he announced. We knew he was going to announce, but we had him on there. And oh my gosh,
isn't he incredible?
Him. And they're making this big deal about him having to read questions as opposed to hear them. I don't,
Amber, I could be reading questions right now. Every news reporter I've ever seen deliver the news uses a teleprompter. I see people use them all the time. Also, we're a country that can be accommodating of disabilities, whether permanent or short term, and we're supposed to be. It's a part of our value system, I think. And I'm actually really excited that I believe the Senate's going to have somebody like John Fetterman, who is different from so many other senators in so many other ways. And this is just going to be another way that I think that he adds to the sort of fabric of the U.S. Senate.
So, are you worried that this is going to be a detriment? What are the chances of being elected?
No, so right now he's polling in the lead. Of course, Pennsylvanians are all very familiar now with Dr. Oz, our neighbor from New Jersey, who's running here in Pennsylvania. This is a guy who kills puppies, who drinks his own urine, and owns 10 homes around the world, and none of them are in Pennsylvania. And, it's frustrating to no end to see so many Republicans support him in this state, because I know that he's not reflective of their values as they say their values are, but they're willing to set aside everything they care about because they want the control that a Dr. Oz would give them. And I think, frankly, Pennsylvania's voters see right through it. And I think that's why John Fetterman, I think, is polling really well, because he's the only candidate for this race that has shown up in every single county of Pennsylvania time and time again.
And he does. He goes to those places up in Erie and places that are totally red,
yep.
and he talks to them.
And they really appreciate that he shows up. People understand politics when they can hear from the people that are our politicians. And I see that every single day. And what John Fetterman's able to do is really connect with Pennsylvanians in a way that I've never seen another elected official in this state do.
It's fascinating because, plus there's a lot of closeted Democrats or left-leaning people in those places that need encouragement to get out there and voice their opinion. Put that yard sign out there and tell their neighbors that, this is what I believe in.
Yeah, to your point, Amber, Pennsylvania is a very rural state. I love Philadelphia. I love Pittsburgh. proud of our big cities, but Pennsylvania is a very rural state, and rural Democrats are the most powerful voters in our state more often than not. They can control so much of what happens in our elections, and it's why a John Fetterman is so important, because he not only appeals to rural Democrats, they see themselves in him because he's out and about throughout the Commonwealth. In a way that Dr. Oz just, he has to cross the state border if he wants to travel around Pennsylvania.
Do you have your plate of crudité there to us nosh on while we talk?
Just the carrots. Just the carrots.
All right. Thank you so much, Brian, for talking. Now I want to bring in John and Taylor, because John has a bone to pick with you, Brian. John, take it away.
Well, I have one. Taylor gets picked on too, because this the Center for Legislative Accountability is this conservative organization, and they spend a lot of time and money branding all of us with percentages of how we align with their conservative goals. And so I got a notice that I was part of the, what is it called?
The Radical Left Coalition, John.
The Radical Left Coalition. And I got a 6% score. So I thought, well, hey, I'm pretty proud of that. Of course, Taylor gets a 0% score. So once again, I fall behind Taylor. But, in preparation for the show, I did look up Representative Sims's score, and he got a 10%.
Don't look directly at me.
So he's more of a blue dog Democrat than me or Taylor. Just saying.
How dare you? You just made my mom smile somewhere, John. That's 10 years I've been convincing her I was walking the right path politically. Oh, man. Yeah, you know what? I haven't a clue what they think I voted for. And this is one of those things where, because all of us, when we're passing legislation, we always think it's right for all people. There probably was something I voted on that they mistakenly realized was good for people, and they like it. Oh, darn it, you helped an immigrant. But they're out. I'm sure that they'll take this 10% back from me. Yeah. I'm filing a complaint. I want to speak to the manager.
You don't accept the results of the election?
No,
is that what you're saying?
I am not accepting the results of this poll.
There were a few Republicans in our state that did score 100%.
Yeah.
Just
Who
saying.
do you have to hate to score 100%?
I don't know, but I did. Taylor, were you the only one at 0?
I was not, surprisingly. I think there were about 10 of us who got 0s.
Thank you.
I think, Brian, I'll give it to you. You've been in office longer. One term, I've only had so many bills. We'll see with time. Maybe my conservatism will grow, but probably not.
I hope that doesn't happen.
I hope to be a forever 0 in the eyes of CPAC.
Right. You're a 0 in my eyes, Taylor.
Someone's saying that a former guest, Brian Chia, was also a 0.
16.
I did learn from Taylor how she is a 0 sometimes, because she would track me in the hall and have discussions about certain bills that we were considering, that we were trying to get to a point together, but she was not given an inch. So you worked on that 0, girl.
I really did, and they couldn't even see all that I was doing to earn that 0.
But
is that
Brian,
the same cloakroom that we have in the Pennsylvania House of Representatives?
I want to thank Brian. 10 years of service, and thank you.
Yeah. It's we were every single one of us got into office because we saw a job that was not getting done completely, a job that we thought we could do a little bit better. And yeah, that requires a bit of an ego some days, but mostly it just requires the sum of our experiences. There's days it feels like a really low bar and days it feels like a really high bar. But I know that most people's character, most of their gumption comes from overcoming things. Even people of massive privilege, if you ask them where their mettle was tested, they'll tell you about having to overcome things. Well, queer people, we've had to overcome a lot. And if you've overcome a lot, you're probably really good at it. And it's why we're so useful in legislatures. We are not natural problem solvers. We are time-tested problem solvers. And I think we're really good in legislatures.
When you were talking about Fetterman and issues about accommodations, Taylor and I came up with this even in the Vermont legislature, because legislators are exempt from the ADA. Legislative bodies are exempt from the ADA that was passed in 1990.
The ADA, explain that.
Americans with Disabilities Act.
Yeah.
So they don't have to be accommodating. Our state house is not accessible for people in chairs to come visit the galleries. And I as Amber knows, and Taylor, I'm paraplegic. I walk with a cane, and I asked for accommodation because the snowstorm was coming to do it virtually, even though during COVID it was hybrid. That was denied but we got the rules changed. So probably the most significant thing that happened was not a law, but now the Vermont House of Representatives has agreed to meet all ADA standards, both for members as well as for the public. Will be a very significant change. But New Hampshire, 6 legislators sued for accommodation, and the courts did not allow it to happen. So it is amazing that the legislative bodies in our country are not dealing at all with accessibility. So as Brian talked about Fetterman and this thing about reading, like it seems like foreign concept because politicians have a different standard.
Amazing. I'm curious, either Taylor or John, do you have questions for Brian, or Brian, do you have questions for John or Taylor?
You know, I don't have a question necessarily, Taylor, but one of the things that I am hoping is, you know, I've written, I think, 38 pieces of legislation in my life, and only a handful of them have ever become law, but it's everything from the Marriage Equality Act to comprehensive sexual education in Pennsylvania. And one of the things that's always nice for a legislator is to see our legislation picked up other places. At some point here in the next few weeks, I would love to be able to shoot you over a cache of legislation I've been working on for a long time, banning the police officers from wearing military regalia, treating sort of bullets and ammunition the way that we would treat weapons in a well-regarded militia. I have so much legislation that I'm hoping to help push out to other places. So I would love to reach out to you with some legislative ideas and help seed your next term.
Oh, please do. I would love it, Brian.
Oh, you two are dangerous. You two are dangerous. I know that.
Taking over the world slowly but surely, Amber.
Don't call me Shirley. Thank you so much for this conversation. I thrive on this kind of talk from such wonderful people as yourselves. So thank you so much. Brian, good luck in your endeavors. Let us know if we can help you in any way, or if you need to yell out to people. We're right here for you.
I appreciate that.
John, thank you so much for your continued work in the arts. I want to hear more about your projects. And Taylor, you're welcome anytime as well. So thank you so much, folks, for joining us tonight on Amber Live. Thank you.
Good night.
Wow, what a great show. What great conversations. I love all those people. They are just so good. You know, there's another person I really like as well, and that is Rocco Zamboni. Rocco, are you here tonight?
Hey, it's me, Rocco Zamboni. I'm running for office, right? I sure am. Look, I'm out here kissing babies dressed as princesses. Oh, you should run for office too. Listen, I'm not messing around, okay? I'm running on the platform of do whatever you want to do. Just don't be a dick, okay? That's all that matters. Listen, we all need money. We all need things to work out for us. We're all struggling, whether you live in a mansion and you can't find the Roomba to clean your bathroom, or if you live in a dirt shack, whatever the hell that is. We're all having problems. I'm having a problem here. This thing's driving me crazy. I don't know whose this is. They ran away. I gotta give it back when I'm done. Hey, your name's Riley. You running for office? No, good, smart kid. All right, anyway, so who cares what I'm running for? Who cares if I'm Republican or Democrat or something in between? There's really not much in between. There's a lot of parties, but let's face it, they're drunk. That's the kind of party I like. So, back off, kid, all right? Just cramping my style here. All right, so this is the deal. You vote for me, and then, good shit happens. Make it happen. Vote for Rocco, right? Damn right.
I think Rocco would have been good on the show, The Office. That's what I'm thinking. Yeah. He could have given Dwayne Schrute a run for his money. All right, let's bring Cousin Craig in. Cousin Craig's been watching the comments tonight. Hey, Craig.
Hey, Amber.
Any comments about tonight's show?
We we had a couple of captions.
Oh, okay. I thought maybe you had any commentary about tonight's show.
I didn't see a whole lot. I think there was so much to absorb about the political stuff. It was just fascinating for
Wasn't it
everybody.
though? Wasn't it though? All right, so let's
Absolutely.
show the picture one more time about the the furniture store there. All right. So what were some of the captions?
So I think the first one wasn't labeled as a caption, but I assume it was meant to be, and I thought it was funny. Scott said, after eating next door at Chipotle, we're going to need some anal furniture.
Scott, hello there, Scott. I don't think I've seen Scott's name before. Hello, Scott.
And Josh said, police, take cover.
Okay. Be next to Chipotle, I would, yes.
Big J is wondering, what does that sign say?
Oh, I think we know what it says.
And we had one more. Don Rotten says, treat your bottom to anal furniture. And I wasn't going to post it because it wouldn't be fair, but I thought this must have been the store formerly known as Stools R Us.
Of course you would. Thank you, Craig. Hey, Russell, come on in.
Oh my goodness.
Oh, what a fun show. What great people. You know,
yes.
Present company included. Yeah, that's of course.
That may be the funniest political show I've seen in a long time.
Oh, but what such warm, nice people, you know.
They really are.
Activists and good people. So, Russell, what do we have coming up? I know we have to announce a change in our plans.
We have a change in our plans. I know. Unfortunately, Jay Rodriguez has to reschedule. He is still planning on coming on the show, but it won't be till November now because, believe it or not, we have just 2 shows left this month, and one of them is our Halloween show. So, but next week we are replacing Jay's previously scheduled appearance with Alexander Cheeves, and I think Alexander is going to make Amber blush more than she's blushed in a long time because he is a sex writer, worker, and activist, and he has a book out there called My Love is a Beast, and he has written for The Advocate, for Out Magazine. He's written for Vice. He's won a whole bunch of awards for his writing. And I think he's got some stories to tell.
Ooh. And we'll have him the full hour?
Oh, you're going to have him for the full hour, Amber.
I can take it. All right, then we have the Halloween show, which we've already started putting together. We've done some interviews, and so that's going to be fun. So we got good shows lined up, and thank you very much. Anything else, Russell?
That's about it, other than that one last plug for the Bustiers.
Yes. Well, thank you, Russell. Thank you, Cousin Craig. Thank you very much.
Great night.
Yes. Thank you so much for joining us tonight on Amber Live, our 125th episode of Amber Live. Yes. And if you could take anything away from tonight's show, vote. All right. Thank you very much. We'll see you next week. And now it's time for Bug and Shug. Bring it on.
Bug, who are you voting for this year?
We can't vote, Shug. We're too young.
Oh, that's right. We are counting on our parents to get out and vote.
Do the right thing, people. Get out there and vote out the Republican regime.
Election fraud, my ass. Vote, people. Let's show them the power of blue.
November 8th. Vote blue.
If you don't vote, we will send Rocco and Rusty over to find out why you didn't vote.
And they mean business.